And the swamp always protects itself. Coming up on the DC Dive, the Backroom deal in Congress. Let's dive in. And welcome to the Gateway Pundit's DC Dive. I'm Jordan Conradson. Our top story of the day, Cullen Lineberger reports for the Gateway Pundit. Whoa! GOP Rep Anna Paulina Luna reveals the dirty backroom deal that led House to voting against censuring Democrat Rep Stacey Plaskett for colluding with Epstein. Now, Stacey Plaskett is the Virgin Islands congressional delegate. She's not even a voting member of Congress, but she was nearly censured over her collusion with Jeffrey Epstein, the dead pedophile, during a committee hearing where she was almost just taking direction from him on what to say. It was pretty weird. Not sure why she's so close to such a sick pervert. Representative Ralph Norman of South Carolina introduced the resolution to censor Plaskett and remove her from the House Intelligence Committee. However, Don Bacon, Lance Goodman, Dave Joyce, they all voted against the censure. 3 other Republican members just voted present or abstained from voting. That was Andrew Garbino, Jay Obernolt, Dan Mouser. Disgusting. GOP Rep Anna Paulina Luna of Florida lashed out in response and revealed that there was actually a backroom deal between Republicans and Democrats to kill the censure in exchange for dropping a censure and ethics committee investigation into Rep Corey Mills, who is facing some trouble with an ex of his, some lawsuits, some restraining orders, some pretty weird stuff going on there, but he's the one that they were protecting against censuring and chose to save him instead of going after this Democrat. Watch.
The Washington Post released a video that pretty conclusively showed that Virgin Islands delegate Stacey Plaskett was texting Jeffrey Epstein during this hearing and receiving instructions from him.
Attorney-client privilege, yes, I will turn it over.
You, as my friend Mr. Meadows pointed out, misled this committee even today in a written submission that contradicted your testimony. You have suggested you are going to review that. Are you going to review it in our next break to correct the record, yes or no?
Yes.
Question, you helped out the president's campaign or were involved in the campaign as a representative, as a spokesman, even in your words today. It was your idea for the campaign dating back to 2011. Is that accurate, yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Weisenberg and other individuals, Ms. Rona. Who are those individuals? Are they with the Trump organization?
They are.
Are there other people that we should be meeting with? And would she be able to corroborate many of the statements that you've made here?
Yes, her office is directly next to his, and she's involved in a lot that went on.
It's ironic that Jeffrey Epstein was seemingly pulling the strings on Plaskett because she was famously involved in an incident in 2023 where people thought she was being psychically controlled by her assistant.
I wanted to introduce into the record page 55 from the committee's interview with FBI employee Roya Demlow, who you just spoke about, which took place on July 17, 2023. Answer by Ms. Demlow, they would be representing what I said because I don't have much knowledge of that. They would be misrepresenting what I said because I don't have much knowledge of that.
Her connection to Epstein was apparently pretty well known, as seen from this comment during Kash Patel's hearing.
I believe that you might have been asked earlier about whether you had had an opportunity to visit with any of Epstein's legal counsel. Were you asked that question earlier?
I think so.
Okay. One of the legal counsels or legal fixers for Mr. Epstein was Stacey Plaskett, the Democrat delegate to Congress from the Virgin Islands. So
now, obviously, she is just a puppet for people like you. You saw her staffer there. Seems kind of dumb in my opinion. She's listening to Epstein, who's literally directing her on these questions to ask someone during examination at a committee hearing. It's pretty weird in my opinion. Of course, like I said, Anna Paulina Luna, she went off and she revealed these facts of, or really allegations, but it's probably likely that it happened. She revealed this in the House floor, And that's what we have. Republicans selling out to Democrats, protecting themselves. It's unfortunate. And coming up next, Elon Musk and Trump are reuniting. First, a message from our sponsor. In our last spotlight, we introduced District Copper trading under CAXPF in the US and DCOP in Canada as a rising force in the North America's critical minerals sector. District Copper is gaining traction in North America's critical minerals sector. The company has announced a strategic partnership with Reacher Gold LLC, a Nevada-based exploration firm focused on copper, gold, and silver. This marks District Copper's entry into the U.S. metals market, leveraging high-potential assets with historical production and existing infrastructure. The move aligns with the U.S. government's push to secure domestic critical mineral sources, including copper, rare earths, and lithium, to bolster national security and supply chain resilience. Washington has recently invested in Canadian mining firms like Trilogy Metals, which saw its stock surge over 200% after a $35.6 million U.S. government investment for a 10% equity stake. District Copper's binational strategy, combining its Canadian copper keg project with new U.S. assets, positions it uniquely in this geopolitical landscape. Partnering with Reacher Gold, known for sourcing undervalued assets, aims to fast-track development and unlock near-term production. With progress at Copper Keg, a U.S. listing, and the strategic partnership, District Copper, listed on the U.S. Stock Exchange under CAXPF and the Toronto Stock Exchange under DCOP, could be the next big name for investors. This stock shows significant upside potential. Don't overlook it. Special thanks to District Copper for sponsoring today's video. Check the link in the description or go to districtcoppercorp.com for more on their U.S. partnership and future prospects. And for our next story from the Gateway Pundit, I reported earlier, Elon Musk back in the fold. Trump greets Elon at the White House dinner, poses for photo, and gives him a shout out during hilarious Kamala Harris roast at Saudi Investment Summit. Musk thanks Trump for, quote, all he has done for America and the world. This comes after Elon Musk over the summer attacked Trump. He said he was in the Epstein files and that's why Trump won't release them. He even called for Trump to be impeached and tried to take credit for Trump winning the 2024 election. I mean, obviously Elon helped, but I don't think he was solely responsible for Trump winning in 2024. I think it was definitely the opponents he was going against and his popularity and everything they were doing to him that really propped him up to be the president of the United States once again. But recently, Trump has been spotted with Elon a little more. He was at Charlie Kirk's funeral, and they were seen sitting next to each other chatting. And on Tuesday night, he was at an exclusive White House dinner with the Saudi Crown Prince and President Trump and multiple other CEOs and business leaders. And then on Wednesday at the Saudi Investment Forum, Trump actually shouted him out on stage and spoke about the good old days when President Trump was running against Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Watch.
If you think about it, if Kamala, who's the same basic thing, grossly incompetent, he was incompetent, they're all incompetent because their policies are incompetent. Open borders, men playing in women's sports, transgender for everybody. I mean, they got the worst policy. I don't talk about it too much because if I talk about it, they might change. So, no, I don't talk about it. I tell people, don't talk about it. Wait till 2 weeks before the election and hit the hell out of them. Right? We talked about that, right, Elon? He said, we wait 2 weeks before. It's almost like you're in a war. Don't shoot yet. Don't shoot. Hold your fire. The enemy's rushing. Hold your fire. Don't shoot. Okay, now you can go. 2 weeks before. But I watched a guy the other day, a congressman, fighting for men playing in women's sports. And the new weightlifting record for a certain weight was just set. The man was 119 pounds higher than a woman champion who was a phenomenal champion. Beat her by 119, and he was an average lifter prior to transitioning. A lot of the Saudis are sitting here saying, what the hell is he talking about transition?
Now, this could be a pretty good sign for the former Department of Government Efficiency head. You know, also in August, Vice President J.D. Vance told my boss, Gateway Pundit founder Jim Hoff, that, you know, they're probably going to be bringing Elon Musk back into the fold before the midterms. Obviously, the midterms are about 1 year out, and it seems like they're bringing Elon back in, maybe to help out, help with fundraising for candidates, help win the election once again. So it's pretty interesting. We'll see what happens there. We'll be following that story. But coming up next, a crazy claim by Blackwater founder Erik Prince. Jim Hoft, founder and CEO of the Gateway Pundit, reports Erik Prince, cannibal narco zombie gangs, kill police, behead them, carve up their bodies, and harvest their organs for sale to witch doctors. Cannibal narco zombie gangs. I don't even know how to react to that, but watch.
I feel terrible for the average cop, the good cop, that tries to do the right thing in Mexico, because they're immediately met by overwhelming force, which wipes out not just them, but their family, and it kills their entire family ugly. So, yeah, at some point, some greater force is going to have to be unleashed. You'd be surprised, because of the work we're doing in Haiti, how many other governments are reaching out saying, can you please come in and help us break the back of this international, very well supplied, organized crime to put them back in a box.
This is really insane. What's going on in South America is pretty disgusting. They're also sending these people to our country. They had been for the last 4 years under Biden, just flooding our country with millions of these savages, disgusting human beings. I don't even know if you can call them human beings at this point. Of course, President Trump has spoken recently about going into Mexico, Colombia, and Venezuela, especially as he amps up his offensive in Venezuela and on the drug boats. We might be going to war with the cartels. We might be taking the fight to South America, bombing the cartels. President Trump says he knows where these drug lords live. He knows what their houses look like, and he knows where they are at all time, because that's how good the United States military's surveillance skills are. So it's going to be pretty cool. And Erik Prince isn't just making this thing up about the cannibalism in South America and the narco zombie gangs selling organs to witch doctors and who are probably eating them or doing God knows what. Jim Hoft writes, the Gateway Pundit has seen video of the cannibalism in Haiti. It is too shocking and disturbing to publish on this website. Coming up next, Jasmine Crockett shows the world what an idiot she is. But first, a message from our sponsor. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm thrilled to announce my enthusiastic endorsement of Blackout Coffee, a company that embodies the heart of American values. This family-owned business began 7 years ago in a humble garage, and today they've earned over 32,000 five-star reviews for their premium bold coffee. Blackout Coffee isn't just about exceptional taste. They're staunch supporters of the Second Amendment, standing firm for our freedoms. Allow me to share my personal take. I've sampled their coffee, and it's outstanding. Rich, smooth, and crafted by good people who share our commitment to what makes this nation great. It's my go-to brew to fuel the day. And if you're ready to support a company that delivers quality and principle, visit blackoutcoffee.com/rift and use code RIFT for 20% off your first order. That's blackoutcoffee.com/rift. Join me in choosing coffee that stands for something. Get yours today. And welcome back. Colin Lineberger reports for the Gateway Pundit. Rep. Jasmine Crockett's effort to smear Republicans over Epstein donations blows up in her face when conservative journalists unearths the damning truth. Crockett really thought she was onto something here, but newsflash, dummy, you weren't. Watch this.
Folks who also took money from somebody named Jeffrey Epstein, as I had my team dig in very quickly: Mitt Romney, the NRCC, Lee Zeldin, George Bush, Win Red, McCain Palin, Rick Lazio. I just want to be clear. If this is the standard that we're going to make, just know we're going to expose it all. And just know that the FEC filings, they are available for everybody to review. This is absolutely ridiculous.
If this is the standard we're going to make, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, whatever. The Washington Free Beacon's Chuck Ross responded to the video. He said on Twitter, "Oof, Jasmine Crockett is disastrously wrong here. none of these donors are the Jeffrey Epstein. Several are from the same Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, and donations to Lee Zeldin are from after Epstein killed himself. So this is, I mean, it's representative of DEI, quite frankly. I wouldn't doubt she has DEI staffers. She's like, my staff looked into this and we found something really interesting here. It's anyone could see, okay, this is probably not Jeffrey Epstein. If you just look at FEC filings and donations, it's not that hard. But all I can say is, you got to feel bad for black people. They have people like this representing them, making everything about their race, and then they come out and they're just idiots. Same thing with Kamala Harris. Obviously, she transitioned herself from an Indian to a black person. I think the Indians were like, no, we don't want you, Kamala. You're gonna have to find a different race to hustle over here. And she was like, okay, then I'll say I'm black because my skin is dark. And Kamala Harris is probably the dumbest politician in the country. Obviously, she ran for president, and it was an utter failure. I don't think she's gonna be able to bring herself to run for president again because it was just such an embarrassment. On this Jasmine Crockett thing, one reader at the Gateway Pundit shared this meme. Let me ask you a question, which is pretty funny. Big fake eyelashes and everything. Anyway, that's all we have for that story. And coming up next, mass surveillance is at our doorstep. Alicia Powell reports for Rift TV, quote, Apple's new digital ID is here, and it's the first step toward a social credit system. Now, the company says, quote, Apple cannot see when and where users present their ID or what data was presented. This is basically uploading it's kind of like Apple Pay. You have Apple Pay, you double tap your thing, you tap it on the payment processor, and instead of having your credit card in there, it's going to have your passport and your ID. You can use that at bars to show you're 21 or over. You can use that at airports, and it's kind of like nowadays when you go to the airport, you stick your ID in and they take a photo of you. I've always been suspicious of that. I'm like, why are they taking a photo of me? Why is this like going to be used somewhere or stored somewhere? I'm really not too sure why they do it, but it is kind of scary. Jennifer Bailey, Apple's vice president, says, Apple's vice president of Apple Pay and Apple Wallet, says, quote, with the launch of digital ID, we're expected to expand the ways users can store and present their identity, all with the security and privacy built into iPhone and Apple Watch. So she's actually calling it your digital ID. This program is reportedly already live at 250 airports across the nation. It sure is convenient, but what does this mean for the future? And are we just trading our rights for convenience now? I mean, many on social media are comparing this to Big Brother constantly watching you and suggesting that it's something right out of a George Orwell novel. Now, remember the rage about proving you got your COVID shot? You showed your vaccine passport that showed, oh, I got my COVID shot and my booster, and some places were requiring this vaccine passport to access. What's going to happen the next time a global event like COVID happens? Is this going to be kind of weaponized against the people to make them prove, like, here, we have your digital ID. Does your digital ID say that you've had the COVID shot? Or who knows what the next big crisis is across the world? As Alicia Powell notes, and probably correctly, this is no mere convenience. It's the foundation for total control. Digital ID paves the way for a social credit score system where access to travel services and society hinges on algorithmic approval, turning your phone into a leash held by faceless authorities. I agree with that. It's kind of a scary concept that everything that's going to be able to get us into certain places, get us aboard travel like airplanes and trains, it's all going to be stored in your phone in your digital ID. So that closes our top 5 stories today. Tune in tomorrow for 5 more, and Have a nice day.